Well, unfortunately, the wait for a MLS team to finally win the CONCACAF Champions League will have to continue because in the end, it was Tigres the one that was able to come from behind by winning 2-1 against LAFC. And Tigres themselves also avoid the label of being the Buffalo Bills of the CONCACAF Champions League because this was actually their fourth final appearance in the CONCACAF Champions League in the last five appearances of this competition, but they finally were able to win it in their fourth try and finally get themselves in that elusive trophy that they've been really wanted to get for the past couple of years. Now, in the first half and in the first 5 minutes of the game, I noticed that the LAFC defense was very shaky and that there were a couple of times that they gave the ball away in some very bad spots for Tigres, but unfortunately Tigres wasn't able to pounce on those opportunities. But for the first 10 minutes of the game, it was kind of a very typical kind of cup final game where it was very cagey between both of these teams, and that both of these teams don't want to take a lot of chances in terms of potentially getting themselves down 1-0 early in this game, and that neither of these teams even had a sniff going forward and had any chances of potentially getting the opener of this game. Then we had our first controversial moment in this game in the 17th minute when there was no penalty call after it looked like Rodriguez looked to trip Blessing down in the box. Now, originally when I saw this, I thought Blessing probably tried to sell this and he went down on the ground a little bit too easily. But then when I saw the replay a couple of times, I kind of feel like this could have been a penalty because there was definitely contact between Rodriguez and Blessing. And knowing the fact that in this competition, there's been some very sketchy penalty that has been called in this competition. I wouldn't be surprised that that one would have been called a penalty, but unfortunately that was not the case for LAFC. But despite the fact that there was no penalty award for LAFC, you can really saw that after that they were really started to dictate the play and really kind of control the game and not really letting Tigres have a lot of possession or even have a chance to trying to go on the attacking end. The first real opportunity came in the 26th minute when Rossi blazed a 21-yard shot over the bar, or a 20-yard shot over the bar, before Vela had a chance in the 33rd minute to try to sneak one past the front post on the free kick, but unfortunately he hits the side netting there. And another thing that I also realized for this entire first half, and really for this entire game, is that I thought the referee was being extremely lenient and not willing to show the yellow card, despite the fact there was tons of fouls committed by both teams. And, you know, there is an old cliche in cup finals where referees, they tend to be a little bit more lenient and that they don't want to, like, show a card to players or even show the red card because it could really change the outcome of the cup final. But in this game alone, you know, I get that the referee was trying to be lenient and he doesn't want to show a yellow card to really change how this game is going to play, and he just want to let this game kind of plays out. But there was not only tons of fouls that was committed by both teams, but there was definitely some that I think if this was a regular season game or if this is not a cup final, surely it has to be a yellow card in terms of some of that. Like, I think by the end of the first half, there was like 25 fouls combined for both teams. That's way too many fouls for a referee to kind of let go of every one of them and not even showing a yellow card. But again, there was, I think, a couple of them that is definitely worthy of a yellow card, but the referee was being very lenient toward that. And I think throughout this entire game, I don't remember he actually even show a yellow card to anybody. I mean, that just kind of shows you that he does not want to show anybody a yellow card that could potentially change how the way this game works, or maybe potentially have to show a second yellow to the player that he showed a yellow card early in this game. But the other thing that I noticed in the first half is that there was only one shot on goal by both teams, and that the first half, you know, despite the fact that LAFC, for pretty much after that no penalty kick call, that they kind of dominate the possession, they weren't really doing a good job in terms of the final third, and in fact, neither team was doing anything in the final third, and it was just a very choppy kind of first half, and that in some way it was kind of, again, very typical of a cup final, where usually in the first half, neither of these teams want to take a lot of chances, and that the second half is where I would expect things were going to get a little bit more exciting. And it did, because in the 48th minute, Gignac had his first real opportunity as he tried to put a curler from 19 yards out that went wide off the post, before Vela in the 54th minute tried to chip as he went through on goal, but unfortunately it went wide, and I thought that was the wrong option for Carlos Vela, because they were on a free on to attack there, and that if Vela was a little bit more unselfish and actually really saw that there was a couple of his teammates in an open position, I think this would have been a big opportunity for LAFC to grab the opening goal. But LAFC was definitely putting the pressure on Tigres, and that the only issue that I still thought that they had was that they weren't very good in the final third. But 2 minutes after I wrote that down on the board, they got the opening goal, LAFC. It's Diego Rossi that scored for Marc-Anthony Kaye that gave LAFC a 1-0 lead. Lovely little chip that is from Diego Rossi. Even a better pass from Marc-Anthony Kaye to give LAFC a 1-0 lead. And you're thinking, is this finally the moment that an MLS team is going to win this competition? And that we've always seen in a cup final like that, where when you are able to finally get that elusive lead, you most likely is going to able to hang on, and that it always looked like, with the way how this game plays, one goal was enough to potentially win the game. But then after, when LAFC scored that opener, you can really saw the Tigres was started to show some urgency on the attack. But LAFC had a big chance to make it 2-0, and Vela had probably his best opportunity in the 65th minute, where he had basically a sitter to basically put it away, but unfortunately it was blocked from close range, and that in some way I feel like Vela clearly should have done better in that situation, and that clearly should have been 2-0 in favor of LAFC. And that big miss is going to come back to haunt LAFC, because just 7 minutes after LAFC almost doubled the lead, Tigres got the equalizer, and it's Ayola, the one that scores from Guzman, and this goal was coming from corner. And I talk about how LAFC, one of the biggest issue in terms of defense, not only in this competition, but pretty much throughout the entire last season in MLS, is defending set piece. They have just not been a good team in terms of defending set piece, and we saw it happen again in this situation, where they basically let Ayola wide open and having a free header there. And when you give Tigres a free header from a corner, yeah, most of the time they're going to bury that one into the back of net, and they did it in that instant to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Meza then had another free header from the corner, but unfortunately he wasn't able to put that one away. But you can definitely see that not only LAFC was having a lot of difficulty defending corners, but as the game continues to goes on, and as we get closer to the end of regulation, you can see that the writings was on the wall for LAFC, and that LAFC was kind of really on the ropes, because I thought Tigres not only had the momentum, but you can see there was fatigue that was going on for LAFC, and that they were starting to kind of run out of gas, and that, for Bob Bradley, I was thinking that maybe he can start to make some subs to kind of freshen things up, but he didn't exactly do that, and unfortunately he kind of fell in the same trap that Adrian Heath did back in that game between Minnesota against Seattle, where, remember in that game where Minnesota were up 2-0 in that one, but then they kind of ran out of gas, and that they gave up a goal right around the same time when LAFC gave up the equalizer to Tigres. Well, the team kind of ran out of energy, and then the collapse basically happened, and that unfortunately it happened again in this instant, where because of the fact that Bob Bradley did not freshen his team up, and he basically just let his team hung out to dry and just trying to cruise this one into extra time, they were made to pay. And it happened in the 84th minute, where they were being punished, as Gignac would score from Rodriguez to give Tigres a 2-1 lead. This was, again, poor defending from LAFC. I mean, you just cannot let Andre Pierre Gignac wide open at the top of the arc and just not even put a body in front of him to basically block the shot, because anytime when you decide to do that, that is pretty much going to end up end up to be a goal for Tigres, and it's unsurprising that it was the case in this instant. But I also thought that this was the dagger for LAFC because I just didn't think that in the last 6 minutes they were going to come back into this, especially with the way that we know Mexican team, whether it's in a final or in kind of a knockout stage competition, they're gonna waste as much time as possible. They're gonna create so much antics, and they're going to just trying to pretty much slow this game down to a walking pace so that they can, of course, able to win this game. And that with LAFC, the fact that they were already very tired and Tigres was just creating so much antics and just try to stop the game like every single second, it was unsurprising that I thought this was pretty much over and that I didn't see LAFC was going to come back into this one. And in the end, that of course was the case as Tigres able to win 2-1 again in this game against LAFC. And the shots in this game also kind of was in favor of Tigres with 11 shots compared to 10 that LAFC had. But it was the shots on goal where it really told the story. 5 shots on goal compared to just 1 shot on goal for LAFC. Like, there's not a lot of team that can be able to just register 1 shot on goal and still able to win a championship. Like, unless you aren't the Seattle Sounders, most of the time that you're probably not going to win a final if you're only just going to register 1 shot on goal for the entire 90 minutes. 4 shots off target per the 6 that LAFC had. 2 shots that was blocked per the 3 that LAFC had. And possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that LAFC had in this game. And, overall, as I said, I just feel like LAFC just ran out the gas at the end of this game. And it's not surprising that teams are going to run out of gas. Either of these teams was potentially going to run out of gas at the end because, remember, this competition was really bang, bang, bang with the way that these 3 games that each of these teams have to play is in a span of 8 days. So when you basically are facing that kind of intensity and with the way that LAFC have just been in some very physical matchup game in and game out, it was unsurprising the fact that they eventually kind of ran out of gas. And even though Tigres was kind of in the same way that LAFC have played kind of the same amount of game in the same amount of days, Tigres for most of the game they weren't in as much of an intense situation as what we saw LAFC have been throughout this week in the CONCACAF Champions League. And unfortunately, because of the fact that LAFC kind of ran out of gas at the end, that was really the difference of them unable to finally break the curse of an MLS team unable to win this competition. But that being said, I am still proud of what LAFC did in this game, and that I think when you look at past teams that have reached the CONCACAF Champions League final, I think LAFC is probably the most impressive one to reach to that stage, considered they still made the history of becoming the first MLS team to knock off 3 Liga MX team, and those 3 Liga MX team were no joke whatsoever. But fortunately, they just fell at the hurdle in the final, or they just fell in the final hurdle in this situation. But that being said, I also feel like it's going to be a matter of time before an MLS team is going to do. And you can basically put hateful comments in the comment section of what I'm about to say, but I really think the gap is closing between Liga MX and MLS, and that I can really see in a couple of years that eventually an MLS team is going to get things over their hump. I mean, it's really just the way that the last couple of years where we see more MLS team making deeper runs than we have ever seen before. And heck, this is now just the last 3 CONCACAF Champions League, we saw 2 MLS team that is able to reach to the final. So there's definitely some promising situation the MLS team is in this competition, and that I do feel like the gap is definitely closing between both of these leagues. But that being said, I really hope that in the future, and really just for this competition sake of point, I really hope they don't start thinking of the way that, well, maybe since now MLS and Liga MX, the gap is kind of closing, we're going to basically make a super League right now, and basically now have Liga MX team and MLS team being in the same league. I think that is just a terrible idea, and that basically just completely discredit of what the CONCACAF Champions League is. I mean, if they do go to a Super League, no doubt the CONCACAF Champions League is not going to be a thing anymore, because you just had two of the biggest league in this competition merge together, and now what's going to happen in the Champions League? It just feel like it was just kind of a repeat situation, and kind of similar to what happened in the US Open Cup, where there just seems to be MLS team always dominate that competition, and at time when MLS team get to that latter part, it's almost felt like just a regular season and a playoff game for both of those teams. So yeah, I really hope eventually this competition is going to continue to keep strong, and that we are not going to see like a Super League between Liga MX and MLS merging together that will really discredit what this competition is. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And by the way, this is the final review that I'm going to do until the beginning of the season. And I'm really hoping that the beginning of the MLS season is going to announced pretty soon. I mean, usually it's January, the time that they announce the schedule, but because of how uncertainty things have gone, and that I've heard a lot of rumors saying that the MLS season could actually be pushed back because of the way that there's just no way in the world they're going to try to start the season on time, and once again have this situation where they're only going to have most of these teams playing in limited capacity, or even some of these teams not being able to play in front of fans, and that they're just going to continue to lose money, and it just makes no sense for them to continue to do so. So yeah, we shall see when that season is gonna begin, where I'm gonna once again do review. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.